Corey, what is Grid?
Yeah, so welcome, everybody. This is Grid, right? Grid is a national real estate investing network that we like to bring here to a hyper-local level through communities across the United States. This is an opportunity for us to all come together and learn. I like to say we're not here to be gurus to kind of pontificate on high. We just like to say we're just real people here doing real deals in real time, sharing our experiences with you, and trusting that you're going to share your experiences with everybody else in the room so we can all learn and grow together.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Love it. Grid is a national investor network. So for the last 17 years, on the first Tuesday of the month, if you are in Reston, Virginia, Reston is in Northern Virginia, right outside DC. Fun fact, it is the first master planned community in the United States. Really cool to go back and kind of see what that looks like many years later, what kind of intelligent design looks like. You can learn how to invest for free. And we started doing this 11 years ago, licensing it. We have 25 locations. So last night, Grid Orlando just launched with one of the biggest agents in the country, an agent called Veronica Figueroa. Grid Chicago just launched. So coast to coast, we've got you covered with Grid. We have a Grid convention June 1st and June 2nd in Northern Virginia. If you want to be on that list, come grab one of us, get on there. You should come. The speaker lineup that we bring for our Grid events is pretty absurd. Because we know everybody, because it turns out when you do this stuff for 17 years, who's eating some free subs here, right? No, I mean that, like in give and give and give, you can build some great relationships.
That's right.
So GridCon is coming, and then we've got a Grid Pro. So we're gonna we've got some content. We're gonna talk a little bit about it tonight, the 7 levels of freedom, which is just the entrepreneurial journey. Where are you in the entrepreneurial journey? How do you orient yourself? How do you put the stuff we're talking about every month into some kind of a framework, which is the bigger challenge, right? With your career or where you want to head. So we're going to Grid Pro, $9 a month, I think it is. It probably will change. I think it's $9 a month. Just for an online community we can all tap into, weekly calls, just kind of get you connected with, if you can meet everyone in our network, the leaders in this network, you have tens of thousands of deals happening on any basis. Yeah, one of my Grid leaders I give a call to, he's done 1,000 flips in Cleveland. Yeah, so when you have those conversations on a regular basis, it kind of levels the way you think, and you don't have to solve any of these problems yourself. So if you have a need, if you're trying to build something, there's a good chance someone in this network of 25,000 people, just like you, is just as collaborative, would love to help you. So
is that something you already can do?
Yeah, go in the Grid Investor Community Facebook group. There's 8,000 people in there. Yeah, tap in, share, make a question, tag me. I will happily make a connection with you. But the new platform Circle, I think you're going to like it. It's going to be a little easier. Everything will live in one place. So instead of the YouTube channel and all the classes, all that's going to live in one place. And we're going to roll out some things this year to meet you where you are, kind of take you on a journey. Ben is here. Where's Ben? Did he escape?
Might have escaped.
Right. So Morgan was just talking to Ben. We'll come back to it. I'll come back to him while I was calling him out. Corey, who are you?
Yeah, cool. So my name is Corey King. I am a real estate agent team manager here in Knoxville. I started out my journey as a restaurant manager, owner, operator down in the Space Coast of Florida, where I did that for close to a decade. Bought my first home when I was like 22. Started house hacking, offsetting my living expenses that way. After relocating here to East Tennessee, got into sales, started building out a rental portfolio, was able to let the wife step away from that job here just a few years ago, and now just been continuing to grow and scale this team out.
Yeah, and what does that look like? So we did like 90 transactions last year.
Correct.
5 agents on the team. How long have you been in the business now, Corey?
This is year 7. This is the start of year 7.
Year 7. Cool. My name is Justin Myers. I run this team with Corey. I have the privilege of going around the country and opening up new locations for Grid, right? I got that job by just acting like no one else was doing anything like that. So I just out-networked everybody, and they asked me to do it. So go, it's very achievable from little old Knoxville, right? And I just think, so any of you can do that, right? If you just go add massive value, there's tons of opportunities out there. I started as a mortgage broker in 2005. And I've done property management, transaction coordination, ran some teams, started a sign spinning business. Was a roofer. Besides, I've had about 18 jobs, and I've worked a lot of facets in real estate. And what was it? When did we start working together, Corey?
2019?
2019, I
Yeah.
made the best decision of my career, and I convinced Corey to come join a real estate team I was running. And Shanghai him into starting Grid. And then he tried to get away, and I said, no, that license is in both our names. I'm coming with you. We're starting a team together. It's a true story. And so then we how to make that work, and we run a real estate team here that's part of a national organization, which is pretty cool. And the thing I'm most excited about, we're going to talk about this a little bit today, is we are running this play where we have the real estate team, and then we're setting up some of the ancillary businesses that you would as you scale. But the team we're running has that model already. So up in Virginia, they have construction and an acquisition business, a wholesaling like acquisition business, and a private lending business, and a mortgage company, and the joint venture with the title company. And our owner, right, runs a Chick-fil-A model, so we own our team here in conjunction with him. This past year, he made an announcement. He said, hey, I'm trying to figure out how do we make all the businesses work together, because scaling a home service business is the big exit. If you're doing this is like where you go long term. This is where like Pat's like, how do you scale up? I nailed one silo of this. So what are the affiliated silos eventually, right? And he turned it all into one holding company, right? And he's distributing all of his equity in that business as phantom shares to everybody in the organization. So that's the journey they're on, is like, hey, how do you scale this organization across these different verticals? From about $6.5 million in revenue to $50 million in revenue. So that's the journey we're on right now. And I just share that to say, like, that's why I like collaborating. That's why we partnered with, there's really great investor meetups here. I go to them. I think Charles runs a great one. Richard and Jason run a great one here. What I think that's unique about Grid when I look at this is there is like an ethos and there is a game plan being played at a high scale of like, how do you run this at the highest level? How are we sharing some of the lessons we've learned from interviewing some of the top people in the country? Like, how do you apply that to whatever you're looking to do? On a small level or a big level. So just wanted to share that real fast. Who's in the room, CK?
Yeah, so we got, so a little bit about yourselves. New people, can I see a show of new hands? First timers in the room. I love that. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for coming in the room. Like, you're absolutely in the room.
Much louder. Give them like a round of applause like some of you had some drinks. I see some beers and some hands.
All right. Show of new hands. Here's an opportunity. Like, introduce yourself. 30-second elevator pitch. Who are you? What do you do? Who can we connect you with?
Ben.
I'm nobody. My friend Scott and Haley told me to be here, so I'm here, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can learn.
Scott is not nobody. Scott is our first Grid. So Scott Haley came here and he wanted to learn. And so then Rob, who founded this, started coaching Scott. And Scott is the reason why we're rolling out coaching nationally. Cool. So no, Ben is a world traveler, right? Who is got a small business and is just figuring out the challenges of, hey, I've been traveling, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I've been doing all these interesting things. I've got an unusual situation. How do I tap in and, right? How do I get qualified? How do I start building wealth? So I think he is very similar to all the entrepreneurs in this room. Glad you're here, Ben.
Hey, Ben. Yeah, welcome to the room. Who else? New hands.
Chris.
People. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Chris. I'm very first time being here. I'm a real estate agent with a local brokerage here, and I'm here to learn just like anybody else.
Glad you're here. He wants to learn how to wholesale. So grab him if you got some tips. Suzanne.
That's right.
I will call you out. That's why I come talk to you ahead of time.
Hi, I'm Suzanne. I'm an interior designer. I am now permanently in Knoxville. I've been doing this, had this company since 1998. So if you are flipping homes and you want some of that selection process pulled off your plate, I'm happy to help you with that. If you have homeowners, real estate agents who can't have a vision for the house and you think it has one, reach out to me. I'm also a full-time nurse and I'm trying to get out of healthcare, so I'd appreciate all your help.
I love it. Suzanne's in the room. Where's Haley? I saw Haley.
And that's how I found out.
There's Haley. Haley invited Suzanne. They're at an interior design meetup conference.
I met Suzanne at IDS, which is Interior Design Society. I own a custom home design company, and obviously we have like-minded strategies, so we bonded, and I invited her because I've made some great connections that I know she's going to do now.
I love it. I'm glad you're here. Olga. Olga's just here so she doesn't get fined.
I'm here on a homework assignment. I'm a real estate agent / property manager and investor myself. I've been in real estate since, gosh, probably a good 20 years now.
Pick Olga's brain. Olga started talking about all the flips she's done, the property management she's done, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put you to work. You're in the room. Julia Yelena.
Yelena. I'm not a real estate agent, but I want to learn a little bit. I work for college. So I want my dream to invest more like in my, like maybe hopefully in Hawaii. So learning how to get my dream done.
Glad you're here. Julia?
I'm actually doing nursing in Parkwest Medical Center, so I have a different career, but I'm here just to learn. Beginner, just want just to see what is up here.
I love it. We all remember what it was like the first time in this room. A lot of people are going to come up and introduce themselves afterwards, and I'm sure they'll be happy to pour into you. Who else? I know I saw Jamie in the back. RJ, who are you, sir?
Oh, hey, I'm RJ Duncan. I am a real estate agent, and I'm here to learn.
RJ is my new partner. I brought on RJ as a production partner, so I can actually service all the business I get. So RJ is a new part of the team. Glad you're here, dude.
Good to be here.
Amanda, also speaking another member of the team. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm Amanda. I just joined the CASA team today. And I come from a custom home builder background. I was a sales agent for a local barn-and-minion builder for the last 3 years.
Sit up front and get the mic.
My name is Caleb Brown. I work with Pat at Pro Source Home Buyers. My main focus is purchasing land. That's kind of what I'm in charge of.
Awesome.
Yeah, land.
Hi, this is my first time. My name is Clint Coverage, and I work for Pro Source Home Buyers, Pat Martin, as a purchasing manager. Anybody else?
All right. Who's got money in the room? Oh, let's go.
Hey there, my name's Trisha. I'm a nationwide virtual wholesaler. I wanted to meet more locals, so that's why I'm here. My good news is that it took me 6 months to close my first deal, but I closed my second and third together on Friday.
Let's go. It's past Friday?
The one we just had, yep.
Awesome, fantastic. So we can actually clap. Yes, it's closed.
Closed and funded.
I was like, no, don't jinx her. Don't jinx her. I love it. Is Soren still in here? We got the youngest. And you get to step outside. Cool. Good for him. Awesome. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you brought him. That's fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Real fast. Who's got money in the room?
Yeah. Capital to lend.
Who's got capital? Okay. Only Nate. There are no other. Thank you, Morgan. I was like, there's no other lenders in the room. So 2 people have money. No one else has any money. All right. A couple of them have money. They maybe just not for the whole room. Like they've hit. I know. Jeff's got some. Okay, fantastic. Who's got a deal? Who's got a deal right now that they're looking to offload? You guys don't have any deals? Pat, we may have an issue. Okay, Casey's got some deals.
Casey, thank you. Hi, Casey.
All right, Casey's dispo for event. Thank you. Yes.
I just got an opportunity. If you're looking to buy a commercial acre here in Knoxville, I can hook you up.
Awesome. So, come hit us up. Coffee, donuts, and deals Friday. Jeff, you're going to be there. Jeff's got a new opportunity right next Friday for coffee, donuts, and deals. Awesome.
2 Fridays.
2 Fridays. 20th.
Yep.
Yeah, not good.
Might be closed by then.
Okay. Well, get with Jeff afterwards. We'll have some deals there. Fantastic. What's your name, sir?
Chris.
Chris has got some. All right. Anybody else we didn't think of that we should know about? Cool? Ready to get this thing going, Corey?
Totally. Yeah.
Morgan, get up here. Daniel, Nate, cool. Big thank you to our sponsors, right? This organization wouldn't happen with the sponsors. This past month, we got to go out to Second Harvest. Morgan was out there. Some other folks from Grid. Kim Edwards was out there. Came and joined us. And because we were able to make a $15,000 donation to Second Harvest. Thanks to the sponsors. Foundation gave $5,000. Thanks to all of you that individually donated. Yeah. We appreciate you. That money is going to the Pack the Bag program. So $140 sponsors a kid who's food insecure. The teachers discreetly give those to those kids. There's about 35,000 kids in 18 counties that are food insecure, that this is where their main source of calories is like free breakfast, free lunch, and this is getting them through these long weekends, like these snow days. It's getting them through holiday weekends. It's providing. So we thank you so much, because
thanks y'all.
It's 107 kids that are not going hungry this year from doing that program.
Yeah.
All right. Morgan, you ready, sir?
I am. Usually don't take particularly long with these things, but I just had today a new product that is pretty landscape changing for the kind of stuff that I do. We now have a hybrid rental income and ground up construction loan. Now that may sound like Greek to some of y'all. I'm going to give you the picture of what this does. Without y'all having any proof of income, based on just the rental prospectus, the prospective rent of a property that you want to build, you can now do ground up construction and it automatically converts into a regular loan. There are no double closings. One closing. It can be done as either a purchase or a refinance. So if you already own a home and there's space to build either another home or more units to that home, you can use this program. And again, zero proof of income, only based on the potential rent of the property. If you've ever transacted in this space, you can see how that's really interesting because there's no double rounds of closing costs, there's no double qualifications, no trying to keep two lenders in mind for the construction loan and then the 30-year loan. This is transformative for the kind of stuff that we do, and I'm super geeked out to talk about it if any of y'all want to.
That's cool. Nate.
Fight.
Hey, my name is Nate Frederick. I'm with Approach Lending, right? Private money lender. So anybody in the room needs private money lending for fix and flips or fix and holds, whatever that is as well. And then I also, and I touched on this last time I was up here, right? So I do private money lending on one hand, and on the other hand, I come across so many deals and I know so many people, and I'm kind of like this deal maker kind of deal. So since the last time I was here, I've done 3 so far, and 1 is in the room, and 2 other are part of Grid, right? So they're like I said before, 3 things to make it happen. You need to have a deal, you need to have money, you need to have a contractor. A lot of times people have 1 or 2 of the 3 and not the other and need some. I can put that all together. So give me a call, right? And Christian will vouch for me. He called me at 1 o'clock. I was out there by 3 o'clock and had the contract signed by 3:05, right? Money paid, the whole 9 yards.
Closed like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, keep rocking, right? Just keep rocking. So give me a call if you get a chance.
Good deal. Thanks, bro. Dan.
And the final guy. I am a boring property manager. I own Stonebrook Properties. We manage just over 250 units. We handle A, B, C class. We will do it all. And long-term rentals only, though. If you want your landlord experience to be boring, call me. Make it away.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Thanks to all of our sponsors again. We really could do all. And certainly got to give a shout out to the man behind the camera back there, Mr. Dalton Bradley, part of Horizon Media Group. Reach out there if you need all your media solutions. They do a great job helping us out. Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right. Let's get this thing going.
Totally. I'm just going to pass through that. Important.
That's it. Flip to flop at the end. Yeah. Important legal stuff. Great. Do not sue us, right?
Don't sue me, bro.
I heard something fantastic when we were rewriting the content for Investing 101. Investing will not solve your money problems, right? Investing is a reward you get for solving your money problem. Now, if you're in here because you're like, dude, I'm trying to wholesale because I need money, you're in the right space. Because investing is not a no risk game. So don't sue us. Verify this information. We're not tax professionals. We're not attorneys. We have all that information, and we're going to direct you in that direction. Like as real estate agents, we're an expert on the market, and we're facilitators. But like, you should be doing 10 hours of research over 1 hour of action. All right?
I'm into that.
Yes.
Don't sue me, bro.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Right.
Let's talk about wholesaling, Corey.
Yeah,
What is wholesaling?
Cool. Yeah, we'll do a quick overview.
Who has a? Let's take a quick poll here. Who's wholesaled in the room before? All right.
Done some assignments. You've already done an assignment.
Okay. Who wants to wholesale in the future? Anybody not sure about wholesaling? Anybody got maybe a mixed opinion about wholesaling? Everyone in this room only knows cool wholesalers that send properties that are worth looking at, that like make sense.
Yeah, all the numbers pencil perfect.
And are shockingly like highly ethical, really on the ball 19-year-olds. Okay, so maybe some mix, fantastic, right? We're going to talk about how to wholesale the correct way and how to wholesale at a really high level.
That's right.
I'm excited about it. Let's walk through what wholesaling is. Corey, what is wholesaling at its most basic?
Yeah, so wholesaling at its most basic is finding a property or an opportunity, putting that property under contract for purchase, and then assigning or selling those rights to another party to take over where you have the opportunity to make a spread on that capital.
Yeah. When you enter into a contract in the state of Tennessee, you have a bundle of rights that go along with that contract. One of those rights is the ability to assign that to another party. My friend Casey, developer, is not here. We see this all the time on the commercial side. Hey, I'm going to get the deal down. We're going to figure out, hey, Corey, are we doing this one together? Or am I doing this with Duke? Or you know what? No, we're just going to give that to the construction company, right? Like different entities are going to do that. It's pretty normal to have a substitution of a buyer. In this case, it takes a lot of effort to get a property under contract. So if you do this at scale, like why would you end up wholesaling, Corey?
Yeah, some deals it just doesn't make sense. Either you've got a pipeline of properties where you're, if you're actively fixing and flipping and you have to keep that money burning, like having something just sitting there that you're otherwise paying money on doesn't make sense too, where you can easily just assign the rights, make the spread and move on. I did 3 of them this past year myself.
Awesome, because Pat's going to be here. Anything that you do, right? If we talk about active income, eventually I need to build a machine, right? And if I build a machine, there's going to come a time when the machine is running correctly. I cannot service everything that comes through the machine. And so wholesaling at its most basic can be a way to offset my ad spend or something, or it can be an entire business, right? Or it can be a mixed model. Pat's going to talk about what he's done and like running kind of a blended model at times, right? But it's definitely something I want to have in this because it can be as simple as Corey looking at a deal saying, I can't take it down. Do you want to do this? He's already got a contractor out there. He already found the deal, right? He put it under contract. Me looking at it and saying, you know what, I'm not going to do it, but we're going to wholesale it to a client. And now we've got a way to make back, a return on the time and money he did because he already did the ARV for them, found the contractor, found all the comps, right?
Yeah, you hand it over.
Hand it over and there's a way to be compensated. So the math, pretty simple, right?
Yeah, so quick math at it, right? If you got a property here that's say worth $100,000 fixed up, and it's going to take $10,000 to fix it up, just running our investor math formula, right? For those that have been in the room, we all know that's 70% of your after repair value minus your cost of repairs is the price you should buy it for as an investor, or less. If you're looking to wholesale, you should get the property under contract for less than that. So in this instance, if you got that property under contract for $55,000 and you go assign that contract over to another investor for $60,000, you have an opportunity to make a $5,000 spread. Cool? Track? Make sense?
That is wholesaling in a quick snapshot, right?
Totally.
Fantastic. So, want to give you a quick overview. We're going to have Pat up here talk through some of the rest of this.
Yeah. That's my math. Yeah. Is it legal?
Awesome. Wholesaling is legal in the state of Tennessee. The state of Tennessee has issued some guidelines and some regulations. Go look up the state code around those guidelines and the regulations. They didn't have a formal definition of it previously. They have a formal definition of it, and there's some pretty basic guidelines, and there are some disclosure requirements that a wholesaler has. Those disclosure requirements to both the seller and the buyer in a transaction.
That's right. Yep. Wholesaling again, you may or may not need a real estate license depending on your state. Our friends in Virginia, this is a state where you do need your real estate license. So if you
are looking to get your real estate license, or you need to brush up on some CE credits, holler at us, let us know. We have a promo code that can be used through the CE shop, saving 30% on getting your real estate license or on your CEs.
Cool. Let's take the next one, though. Fantastic. Okay. 3 ways to find buyers: prospecting, marketing, networking. You want to go check out Courtney Scott. Courtney Scott is one of the best marketers in the country in terms of identifying wholesale leads. Go watch that. He went through kind of his stack. Pretty interesting how Meta's recently changed. They put some tools in place. If you understand marketing, if you understand prospecting or networking, right? Networking, you're here doing this. Prospecting, we have covered at a high level before on Grid. We can also point you in the direction of some interviews and with some of the best prospectors in the country. Fantastic. So that is on the YouTube channel. So just Grid Investor on YouTube.
You can find all of the ones for across the country, and then there's a Grid Knoxville
You can
playlist.
find our playlist there.
So these are the questions we're going to punt to Pat today. We just want to walk you through some of the questions you might have. We're going through this, right? What's this one back here? Do I need to?
What do you want to do, Joseph?
What was the first one?
Sorry. There
we go.
Perform.
Awesome.
Do I got to buy it?
Hey, if I put something under contract, right? Do I have to perform? Do I have to buy the property, right? How do I protect myself? We'll just flip through these, Corey, real fast here, right? How do I get paid? Yep. How much money do I need to get started, right? Wholesaling is famously advertised as you don't need any money to do this, which is, an interesting answer. Do I need to understand the renovation costs? We can answer this one right now, Corey.
Yeah.
Do I need to understand the
Yes.
renovation costs, ARV or soft costs? So technically no, but yes. If you're a good enough salesperson that you could be selling something right now anywhere, like you can walk onto a car lot and do this, fantastic, great. Yeah, you can go wholesale all day long. It's about identifying problems and emotional solutions. You can talk people into things. Great. For the rest of us, yes, you need to have some idea of what you're doing, I think.
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
right.
hot take. To do this correctly, you need a little bit of knowledge about what it is you're actually selling and if it's a good deal or not.
I'd say oftentimes that comes up as the number one complaint I hear for the most part is people say, yeah, this wholesaler should be a thing, but the repairs are $20,000 and it might be actually $70,000. Just curious, poll of the room, who's encountered those kind of situations? Exactly, right? Perfect that. So to that point, next month's topic is just that, how to estimate repairs and renovations. We've got a few GCs and contractors we work with, and that's my opportunity to do a little show and tell. I've done 4 flips this past year. I'm gonna break it all down. I'm gonna show you exactly what I went into it for, how much my out-of-pocket was, how much did it cost me to actually do the deal, and what was my exit on it overall.
And we're also going to break down the 4 levels of renovation. So we talked to someone else in Grid. We'll give this to you as a handout, right? If you ever got one of Corey's emails, he lays this out. Hey, this is a level 2 renovation. This is a level 3 renovation. So we're working off kind of a common understanding. I think that helps too, is if we give each other a common language, right? It makes it a lot easier to understand these deals. Fantastic. And then what's the last question we're going to talk about today, Corey? How do I handle settlement? Yeah, right? Like, ooh, wait. I'm going to closing. How am I going to close this thing? I've assigned over my rights. What do I need to do to understand that and walk through that? We're going to walk through this with Pat.
Should everybody be in the same room? No. No. I always keep my buyers and sellers separate just as a best practice.
Awesome. So, should you pull title? Yes.
Every time.
Right? But for all of those questions, we've got an expert today. We got Pat Martin. Corey, can you give us an intro for Pat?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So Patrick, for those of you who don't know, owns and operates ProSource Home Buyers, Vend Property Solutions, one of the largest institutional buyers, or largest direct-to-seller buyers here in the area. Pat's got an amazing story I'm excited for him to share with us. Father, family man, 6 kids, 7, amazing, right? Yeah, has built an amazing business, gone through some challenges along the way with that, kind of felt some pain with the scale, had to scale back, and now rebuilding. It's been an amazing journey to watch. So, Pat, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Join us up here, bud. Great. All right, you can join us on the Ricky Lake couch. What do you call this?
Counseling?
No, he's got a set for it, but I'm dating. It wasn't Ricky Lake.
It's either the Tonight Show or Drew Barrymore show.
Fantastic. So, what I'd like to do, Pat, I thought would be helpful is, those were some good questions to start off. Those are some foundational questions. I think I'd rather ask you than Corey or I give like an 80% correct answer. Would it be cool if we ran through those, Corey? Run those right back, and then we can kind of dive into your story.
Sure. Let's
talk
hear it.
about scaling, and we can ask all the tough questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. All right. So,
illegal doing a license. How do I get paid?
Beautiful. There you go. That'll be all you. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna put you both on here, on the hot seat. Fantastic. So, Pat, do you have a different explanation for what wholesaling is? How would you explain to somebody what wholesaling is?
I think you guys nailed it on the head. I mean, it's the ability. Is this on? Working?
It's not gonna hear in the room.
Yeah, it's the ability you have equitable interest when you have a property under contract, and you have the ability to assign that contract for profit. So like Justin said, sometimes it's just, you put a property under contract in your personal name, and maybe you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy it in this LLC. That's an assignment as well. But oftentimes what we're talking about tonight is taking a contract and selling that contract, assigning that contract for a profit.
Fantastic. Corey, you want to run through these? Is it legal?
Yeah, Pat. Is it legal what you do?
Really?
It is very legal. And actually, late last year, Tennessee passed SB 0909, HB 0781 that kind of defined what wholesaling is. And so, some people didn't like it. To me, I really enjoyed it because it kind of solidified and codified that wholesaling real estate for profit is legal. And it added some disclosures that I think are great. Some of those being you need to disclose to your seller that you are planning on assigning your equitable interest in the property. You have to disclose to your buyer that you're selling them an equitable interest, not actually selling them a property that you own. And then you also have some requirements to notify the seller 3 days before the effective date of that assignment contract. So you let them know on the contract, hey, this contract is assignable, supposed to be in bold writing, all that good stuff. And then 3 days before the effective date of assigning that contract, you need to notify the seller in writing as well that the contract is being assigned. So to me, that's all good stuff. I mean, we didn't do it exactly that way before. I mean, we had that our contract was assignable, but I think just more disclosure is a good thing across the board.
Just better for consumers overall.
Sure.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to ask you? I blanked on it. I'll come back to it, Pat. Boom, we've covered this.
Yeah. Finding buyers. What's been your biggest, I would imagine you're getting a lot of the direct inbound marketing at this point. How much outbound are you doing? What are your channels you're finding are driving the most activity?
So you're talking about specifically for buyers?
For sellers, I'm sorry.
Oh, sellers. So you want to know marketing channels? Or
sure.
And are you kind of talking like, hey, I want to get into this. Where would I start, or what do we do?
Yeah, often in our last meetup we talked about really that was how to find the deal, prospecting, networking, marketing.
Okay.
Most people would start off on lower cost channels. It's typically prospecting or networking based. So I can pick up a phone, I can call, I can door knock, I can send letters that are generally fairly low cost. To a point, right? I mean, certainly at scale, there's cost to it. Eventually, you start earning some capital where you can kind of go reinvest into your marketing. And so, sorry, here, take that.
So, whoa, that's a huge.
Yeah, that's
difference.
a hot mic.
Yeah, hot mic. I want to know both, but if I'm new, where do I find sellers? If I'm new in this room, I came here because I want to learn how to wholesale, like Chris here.
Yeah. So if you're new, it comes down to do you want to spend time or do you want to spend money? If you have no money and you only have time, then some of the things they talked about work. I would be at every meeting you could possibly be at, network, find a deal, and that costs you nothing but your time. You probably are all familiar with driving for dollars. You could just go drive your target area.
Pat, what's driving for dollars?
Driving for dollars is go drive an area where you want to buy a house, look for a house that's maybe they got a utility notice on their window, or maybe their grass is overgrown, maybe it looks vacant. Make a list of all those houses. There's some cool tools out there you can use, like Deal Machine is one where while you're driving for dollars, you just pull up the app, click on the house, and you can set it up so it automatically sends that homeowner a piece of mail, or you can also take that list and just call those people, text those people, whatever your preference is. So networking, driving for dollars is a great tool as well. Networking with other wholesalers, but also networking from realtors. We have 5 or 6 realtors who just constantly bring us deals, and they bring them to the person that has the relationship with them. And so they're always coming back to the same rep, or I have a couple realtors who bring me deals directly. So that's a really easy, free way to generate motivated seller leads.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about how to find the deal, we have covered this many times, different flavors of it, right? Gone really deep into what that was just talking about, nuts and bolts of how to do this on the YouTube channel. I want to ask about scale, and I'll give you the mic back, Corey. I'd love to get an idea on an industry standard, because you are now doing direct to, anybody else see Pat's ads?
Yes.
Right? Anybody see him on TV? We've got a TV in the office that's like to the local news. So I see Pat at lunch at least once. I see Pat in a house running a TV ad. So I'd be just curious to talking about, hey, what is, if you don't mind sharing, kind of just big picture industry, what's an ROI for these different channels, like the bulk sort of channels? Because I like to, for everyone to kind of get an idea of what the market industry is. I'm always looking for what's working at scale. If this works to sell 1,000 houses, it's going to work to sell 10 houses in Knoxville. If this is what it, like, cool, Pat gets a 2% response rate on his mailers. I got a good framework for, like, it's unlikely I'm getting a 20% response on mine.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, real funny story real quick about the TV commercial. So I got a note from one of our inside sales reps, who's basically the people who answer our phones and set appointments, that this gentleman saw me on TV, and while I was recording this TV ad, I guess I forgot that I was chewing gum. And he could see me chewing gum on the commercial, and he's called in and said, "That's extremely unprofessional. I will never do business with you." I was like, you probably are right. I should not be chewing gum while I'm shooting a commercial, but that is really funny.
But you got a response. That's amazing.
He did call. So when it comes to return on ad spend, which is what you're asking, correct? For us, we're targeting anywhere north of a 4-to-1 ad spend. So if we spend $1,000 on Facebook and we're able to generate $4,000 of revenue off of that, that's kind of the spot where we know we can be profitable. And we have some that are new channels that maybe do less than that, and if they're in that 1 or 2 or 3 return on ad spend range, you really got to kind of keep your eye on it. It doesn't mean that it may not tell you that it's not working yet. You may need some more time, but anything that's under 4 has kind of got our microscope on to watch and tweak and make sure that it's working. Our best channels are at a 5.5 or so return on ad spend, and that would be radio is our number 1 marketing channel.
Fascinating.
Direct mail's number 1, radio's number 2.
Okay. What's the response rate on direct mail now? I went back and listened to an old interview of you when you were just having the 6th.
Okay.
And right in 2023, Corey found it, and you were talking about how, man, I used to be able to get an 8% return on mail spend. What's the return on direct mail now? What's the response rate?
Are you asking response rate or ROAS?
Response rate.
Response. It's Jamie. What is it, like 0.5%?
0.19%.
Wow.
Yeah, so we send 150,000 pieces of mail a month, roughly. And so I don't know what that is. Multiply 150,000 times 0.19, but the numbers still work for us.
Yeah, so I got 3.
I would imagine a lot of it's just like an omnipresence play to a degree, because you're coming from different angles. If they're hearing you on the radio and they're seeing you on TV, coming across on Facebook,
sure,
and then they're also getting a letter. There's a blended average as far as like how that's going to comprise. It's just which of those channels are they actually going to pick up the phone or reach out to from.
About 300 people a month. Does that sound? Is
that right, Jamie? How many direct mail leads do we get a month?
About 300.
No, not that many.
Okay.
50 to 175, like qualified actual payout.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
No.
So response rate very low, which kind of sucks, but it's kind of like the reality is we're only talking to 4 to 5 sellers for every house that we buy. So you also, if you go the PPL route, which is pay per lead, like motivatedleads.com, which I think used to be Need to Sell My Home Fast, any of those type of channels, you're going to spend a lot of time chasing down homeowners, right? And so from direct mail, they're calling us. If we do our job right, we're answering the phone live, so there's no hunting them down. And so that's much preferred for us, for our inside sales team. They only have to talk to 5 people rather than 20 to 25 people on.
I love that. I want to come back to that when we kind of talk through the scaling journey, because I think that's going to be where we can dive into some of those lessons, right?
Yeah.
On how to apply it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love to kind of understand that. Like, where did that scaling journey take off? I guess, what were some of the initial channels that you started, and how did that build?
I mean, when we start in the beginning, kind of just give a real quick journey. So I moved here in 2010. Before I came here, lived in Michigan, met my wife there, and bought and sold 1 house, which was our personal residence. But that kind of changed the game for me, because we bought this house I actually at the time was a stay-at-home dad. My wife was in network marketing. She was really successful. We had 3 little babies at the time. So she was traveling a lot, and I stayed at home with them and got a little bored with that. We bought this house, fixed it up and sold it, and the check was $20,000. Now, it wasn't $20,000 of profit, but it was $20,000 check. And so that kind of like, for me to see that opportunity, like I don't have to go work a full-time job, but I can still feel like I'm really adding and providing value for my family. So that was the start. Moved to Tennessee 2010. Still really didn't have any capital of my own. So raised some capital from my dad and my brother. I think the first house we bought was off the MLS. It's actually funny. So I remember the address. It's 2205 Roundtree, which this house is on the market today. I bought it for $80,000. I did the rent-ready remodel myself, and back in 2012 or whenever this was, I was like, man, the roof kind of needs to be replaced, and the deck kind of needs to be replaced, and there are aluminum windows and ugly yellow siding, but I didn't do any of it, and it's still that way today, and it's a $330,000 house.
Knoxville in the last 10 years in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Truly. Yep.
So next phase of my journey was buying a foreclosure sale. So bought 13 or so, bought houses at auction, got them rent ready, rented them out, kind of did the Burr method, refi, got as much of our cash back out as we could. And then one day I bought this house, and we were probably, if I remember right, we were probably running low on capital, like Burr. We weren't getting all of our money out. And so we bought this house on Hillcrest in North Knox. For like $67,000. And so my dad at the time was my partner. I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, like we could sell this house today and make like 30, 40 grand. And we did. And that was kind of like a game changer for me, or like crushed a belief barrier that I had that, hey, you can actually buy properties at a discount. I mean, I was at the auction. There were other guys who buy houses at the auction, and I saw value that other people didn't see, and was able to take $67,000 purchase and make another 30 grand. So that kind of got my mind open to flipping. So continued to buy auction, joined a...
It's a flipping or wholesaling?
Flipping. Well, I didn't get into wholesaling for quite a while.
Oh, got you.
Everything was taken down. We took down everything. So then I joined a mastermind group, just wanted to continue to improve, learn about real estate investing. And that's where I first learned about direct-to-seller marketing. And so, the thing about auctions is like you can't generate demand, you can't generate leads. Like there's 50 foreclosures in Knoxville this month, and they are what they are. And if Corey wants to pay $1 more than me for the house, I don't get a house. So I wanted something that you can kind of control your own destiny more, and direct-to-seller marketing kind of gave us that. And so first thing we did was direct mail, and that was probably like 2014 or so. And then it's just been a journey of, turning this actually into a business. And so we've done every marketing channel under the sun. We've made a ton of mistakes, but it's been a fun journey.
What are those channels, I guess, as you started to turn different on what was the worst one for you that you may have thought at the time was like, this is going to be the one, and ended up falling a little bit more flat?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that, of one that just has been a total flop. I mean, pay-per lead is kind of like the bane of my existence. Sure. I mean, for one, it's like there's no branding in it, which I think for us is huge right now. It's just continuing to build the brand so that, we can drive leads through just brand awareness. And if you're buying leads from, someone else is generating,
any of those, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably those channels. We still do them in small amounts, but they kind of suck. It's like really chasing people down, 20, 25 different leads to get one.
Not dissimilar from days at the auctions in the sense of, because that is a marketplace, and so as more people dive into it, the cost of those leads go up, and so you're still just either chasing ones that other people are already after, or you're just continually under pressure from other people in the space. That if they're willing to pay $1 more for that lead, then that just will continue to push up.
We do. I mean, Jamie's my marketing guy, and so we do some kind of fun stuff with some of them. Like, it was neat to sell my home fast. They it's a bidding method. So if I bid 550 and your bid's 500, like I'm going to get the leads. But what Jamie found out over time is like when people's budget run out, they stop getting the leads.
Yeah.
And so like he would keep our budget at like $200 in Knoxville, and everybody else would spend their budget at whatever it was, $500 a lead. And then when everybody's budget would run out, we would be the highest bidder at $200. So just little things like that. But in the scheme of our marketing, it's pretty small channel.
Sure. Yeah, you can just outlast them because you're just picking a number that, hey, we're just not going to go above this threshold. And over time, like you're going to miss opportunities, sure. But in the long time, people are going to get excited. They're going to jump in. They're going to burn their cash, and then they're out. And then you're there, and you're getting it for half off at that point. Here.
You laid out some things that I really want to go back and touch on, but I want to lay out a framework a little bit on scaling a business, because brand awareness, things like that, like, if you're brand new, brand awareness is important. Brand awareness is like investing a lot in there. You're never going to get to the point where your brand is going to help you. Now I'm closing so many more deals, right? These are things that scale, that they start pulling different levers. I want to run through just a couple of these, make sure we go there, like ask some of these basic questions, and I think we can have a really cool journey and talk about some stuff that you already laid out, because I've got a ton of questions. I'm excited for you. What do I do on the basics of wholesaling? Hey, I got this property under contract. I went into a house. I talked to this old lady, right? She needed someone to perform. I looked her in the eyes. I sat there at the kitchen table. I said, hey, I want to go find you a buyer. Walk me through. Do I have to buy this place if, I go assign it to Corey and the deal falls through?
I think there's two things going on there. There's one, legally it's whatever your contract says. So you may have a contract where your due diligence period is until the date of close. And in that case, if you back out the day before close, like, is that a very ethical thing to do? Is it a very fun thing to do to an old woman who's trying to sell her house? No. But are you legally in your rights to do that? Yes. And so that, when I first started, I got a contract from one of these groups I was in, and that's how the contract was written. It was like you had until the date of close to perform your due diligence. And, over the past few years, we've learned, like, that's not really how we want to operate. And so for us, we have a 2-week due diligence period on a property. So we're going to do our due diligence during those 2 weeks. And we have, we put EMD up. EMD is at the title company. And at that, if we go past that date and we do not perform, they get the EMD. But the goal is to either know, yes, we're buying your house, we'll figure out by that due diligence date, are we buying the house, or are we having to release the contract?
Fantastic. And so what would I do, let's say if I'm brand new in here and I kind of have to understand what we're talking about, how would I just protect myself? Is it having a contract where I want to give myself a long due diligence period so I can exit the contract, right?
Sure. You can write it up however you want. And I think that, if your closing date is 60, if your closing date's 60 days out and you give yourself 30 days, it's like one of two things is true. Either like you just sat on the contract and didn't try to do anything with it for 30 days, or you did all the things you need to do to market the contract and sell it, or B, decided if you wanted to buy it yourself, and you got to the end of that 30-day period, and then you make that call one way or the other.
And then, Pat, how would I find a buyer?
So you want me to think through like I'm a new framework?
New framework, same thing. Like, how would I go? Great, I think I can do this. I understand. I think I can get it under contract, and I get, I'm going to work with this person, give them a reasonable due diligence period that protects me, but not tie them up 90-day contract where I can back out at any time.
So if I'm in a bad position, if I'm new and I get a house under contract in, let's just call it Knoxville, and I don't know any buyers. I don't know who the buyer for this house would be. A couple things that I would do is I would come to every investor meetup you can, network with everybody, tell them you got a deal, get investors to the house and get offers from them. Find out if your numbers are right. If we always try to get 3 to 5 offers at least on every property, and that can give you some feedback on, did we miss, like, were we wrong on our ARV? Were we wrong on our repair number? But if you got one offer, if you put under contract for 150, you go get one offer for 120, it doesn't really tell you a lot, because there could be a buyer out there who would pay 180 for it. We run into that all the time, where a buyer will just sling out a really low number at you, and if they get it, they get it. Like, they didn't really do any due diligence, but they'd be more than happy to buy it for 100. So that's number one, networking, network. Number two, there's all of the person who's going to buy this house likely has bought houses before, and all of that is public record. And so there's lots of programs out there to find out who's buying. PropStream would be one. Investor, if I'm new, I'm probably going to Investor Base. So it's a program, costs $200 a month, and the only way to end up on Investor Base as a buyer is if you actually close deals. Like, you can't opt in and say, hey, I want to look at deals. It's only people who have closed deals show up. So you're going to get a list of 10 to 15 people who are the most likely to buy the house because they've bought in that area, maybe the same price range, and it will actually give you phone numbers. Now, it's highly likely those phone numbers aren't good, so you want to take those 10 to 15 buyers and go skip trace them through a good skip trace platform. Call every single one of those 10 to 15 buyers, say, hey, I got this deal. Like, I see you bought this house on 123 Main Street. I've got this house on 234 Maple. I think you'd love it. I think you'll make $40K on a flip. You want to go see it. That's where I would start.
Thank you. No, that makes sense. And then I've done that. I found that buyer, used those tools. Skip tracing is just finding accurate contact information for somebody, right? Get with us after if you want to dive deep on that. How do I get paid?
So you have your original purchase and sale agreement. You find your buyer. You're under contract with your seller for $150,000. Joe wants to pay you $170,000 for the house. So you have an assignment contract, which is the document assigning the rights from yourself or whoever is the buyer on your contract to the third party, to Jeff or whatever, I made his name up. And that's where I talked about before, where you have the disclosures on the buy contract. You also have the disclosure to your buyer on the assignment contract. And then that also, the effective date of that contract needs to be 3 days after you notify your seller. And then, after you have your purchase and sale contract, hopefully you've turned that in, you've picked your title company that you want to use, you've turned the contract in, then you send them the assignment contract, you say, hey, I have the end buyer, and then you work with your title company to get that deal closed.
I love it. So actually, we can just talk this through, actually. This hypothetical first deal is a great way to talk about how to start being a wholesaler, and then we can have a conversation about scaling.
Yeah.
So cool. I've got it under contract. Great. How much money do I need to run this play? Do I need earnest money? Am I going to have to do any inspections? Am I going to have to pay any of these fees up front?
Technically and hypothetically, no. You would need zero money, or you could put $10 EMD if you wanted to.
Sure.
And there was a time in our history where we put $100 EMD, and no one ever cared. Today, we always put $500, and we're turning it in. So, it's kind of a nightmare for us to send $100, $500 wires every single month. It's kind of a pain. But yeah, technically you wouldn't need any money.
You've got a contract. Anytime we write a contract, I've got an obligation to perform on that contract, and I've got to fulfill, right? Even if I'm going to exercise that disclosure, it doesn't limit what you could find is if I didn't turn my earnest money in, and they find someone else, well, my contract's invalid, right? Because I didn't perform my obligations on the contract. So I want to have a contract where I have it's called valuable consideration, right? That's why there's always got to be some dollar amount. There's got to be something there. So I've got an earnest money. I put that earnest money down. If I don't perform, they get that earnest money. Great. And then I got a title company. Talk about, have you ever used the wrong title company? How'd you find the right title companies that actually could handle this?
Yeah, we've dealt with a ton of title companies. Some will not close assignments. Most will. There's good and there's bad. I'm not going to name any names, but you try them out and you find who's a good fit for you. I would ask.
We'll later.
Ask for referrals of who have you worked with that's good, that's where I would start.
Yeah, they're not all open to it. They don't all understand it. They may not understand the provisions or be set up to do the title work to do so. Do you have a preference when you're working? Are you double closing that deal? Is it one closing? How is that working for you guys?
So if it's an assignment, it's an assignment. So it's no double close. But
right.
we do double close deals sometimes. We also take down a bunch of inventory to what we call wholesale. So we're going to buy it and go put it on the MLS as is. And then we also buy quite a bit of inventory to actually fix and flip.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. And so then I figured out how I get paid. I've done all this. Corey, what did I not ask on the basics? Then we can talk about scaling this thing up. Pat, what did I not ask you that I should have asked you if I'm a brand new wholesaler?
Maybe how to know what you can pay for a property?
Thank you, actually. So yeah, how do I know what I can pay for it? And how do I understand kind of the renovation cost on a property? How'd you learn how to estimate that? I think you started from a flipping background, right?
Yeah.
So you had your own numbers in your head already, and so you kind of organically grew into it.
Yeah, so I did bring one little tool that I printed out like 25 of them, but if you guys want them, you can take one. But this is just a really simple like cost estimator for rehabs. So I don't know if you talked about levels. I don't know if your levels are equal to the levels we use, but we always categorize houses in level 1, 2, 3, or 4. Yeah. So one,
it's the same framework we use.
Yep. Yeah. One is basically like paint and carpet, maybe flooring. Level 2 is, a couple other things. Maybe you're replacing a kitchen, maybe a bathroom, maybe an HVAC unit. Level 3 gets into you're doing the paint, the carpet, the floors, and maybe 2 additional things like your kitchen's getting remodeled and your bathroom's getting remodeled. And number 4 is not a gut job, not a full gut job, but basically everything. Yeah. You're leaving sheetrock, but everything else needs to be redone. And then it just has a little graph, so how many square feet and what level, and it will get you roughly in the ballpark of what your scope of work or what it's going to cost you to renovate the house. Cool. And
this is helpful. I notice it's not a linear progression. Why is that? Is that because so it's instead of meaning like it's not scaling right linearly where it just like hey
it's pretty close to linear but not exactly.
I'm looking at like level 3 and I'm thinking is that because for example like some of those things don't all scale with square footage like mechanicals are mechanical they're not unless I'm fully replacing and doing ductwork or something the unit doesn't scale like once I've absorbed that cost it's not more expensive on the 2,500 square foot house than it is on the 2,000 square foot house to replace the mechanicals or something.
Yeah, and when you're at that point and you're just trying to get a contract signed or trying to arrive upon a price, it's like if you can get, you don't need to be perfect, but if you can get within that $5,000 to $10,000 of where you're going to end up being, that's the goal, and that's kind of what this does. And for us, like these, I don't even know if you call them algorithms or this is built into our CRM for us. So when we have a lead come in, you establish what level it is, you put in the square footage, and boom, it spits out a rehab number for us. And then, that for us, that's pre-appointment. So then after a rep goes and walks the house, you can plus or minus that based on, hey, this isn't what they told us it was going to be, or hey, I had this at a level 3, but it's really a level 4. Okay, so that's the rehab side. Something like this, or there's probably plenty of tools out there that you could use on, hey, if I had to do a kitchen.
REI Black Book is a tool you could use that has like a pricing algorithm like this built in that you can customize. Yep.
Yeah, you're just trying to get within 5 or 10K in all reality. Then you just need to establish ARV. So after repair value, what is this thing going to sell for when I'm done? Lots of tools for that. PropStream will give you comps. If you're a realtor, you can pull your own comps. If you're not a realtor and you don't want to do it, you can find a realtor to pull those comps for you. I mean, still to this day, we have realtors who pull comps on every one of our appointments because we want that local expertise, and the trade-off for them is they get our listings on the back end. So establish your ARV, what's my house worth? Establish your scope of work, how much is it going to cost to get there? And then you guys had your math on your screen. An investor's going to want to buy 70% of ARV minus repairs. And I'll tell you that in this market, if you get a deal at 70% of ARV minus repairs, it is 100% sellable. I know you guys said get it lower, which is always great, but we find that either investors run different math than us, they have different ARV or different.
What's the buy box? What are people actually buying this stuff as? Is it ARV minus 80%?
That's how we price our deals at 80. When we have a wholesale deal, we do take into consideration where it is. So like if it's in La Follette or Rocky Top, it's probably not going to be 80% of ARV. It's probably going to be at that 70% of ARV. But if we're in the middle of Knoxville where everybody wants a house, we can find a buyer who will pay us 80% of ARV minus repairs. So you want to keep that in mind, because if you're going on appointments in Knoxville and you're making offers that are 65, you want to sell at 70%, and so I'm going to go buy it at 65% minus of ARV minus repairs. Yeah, I mean, yes, you could beat us because they like you more, but you're going to fail on price. And it's not always about price, but if one of my reps is offering 160 because we know we can sell it for 180, and you're offering 140 because that's what this math tells you, you're going to probably spend a bunch of money on leads and not convert it into a deal. and for us, that comes down to like knowing your market, knowing where your house is, knowing where your buyers are. And you can even just spend time, like get on Zillow, get on Realtor.com and look at the stuff that's selling. Like go try to find a rough house that's similar to yours that's sold on the MLS, find what it's sold for, and are you going to be able to get MLS pricing off market? Probably not exactly. That's the thing we always strive for. It's like if we can sell a house as an assignment deal and get MLS like retail value for it, like we're winning. So you're probably not going to get there. So you at least can knock off your realtor commissions, but that can help you also.
Those guys.
Hey, we love realtors. No issue with them at all.
Just being silly. Do you work with buyer agents? Is that something you?
We do.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they're just add their fee on. So for us as a company, all we care about is the net. So if you're a realtor, you're representing a buyer, you make an offer for 180 and you want 10K, then the offer we're looking at is 170K.
Sure.
So.
But I wouldn't discount that, right? Even if you bring it to market and you're cutting off, totally fine, right? Do that. There's advantages and disadvantages. But don't sleep on the fact that 90% of buyers in the market, retail buyers, used an agent last year. Like they have a friendly neighborhood agent that is helping them, not a friendly neighborhood investor. So trying to like double side both sides is, I think, where for sale by owner sometimes can lose out on that. Like successful, what you'd be doing is for sale by owner is, hey, agents that I'm networking with, yeah, I'd love to work with you, pay you a finder's fee, pay you a commission. I know, just don't sleep on that one, it's an easy one. 2 more tech questions, and I want to go into the scaling question here just real fast. Do you pull title on these deals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Title, contract gets signed and the contract goes to the title company. And, sometimes depending on closing dates, sometimes we're putting a rush on it. And some are better than others, but we're trying to get that preliminary title report back within a week.
Yeah, I'd always want to pull title because the way that this is handling is because it's an assignment of contract. This isn't like a double close where I don't know how to have that conversation, so I'm going to go find some transactional funding and, I'm going to close the property from Corey and then I'm going to walk in the closing room next door and sell it to Pat, right? If I'm assigning the contract, then that title company that I originally worked with and sent the earnest money deposit to is the one handling the settlement, right? And I want to know if I can actually buy this place, right? I'm not wasting my time. I have a clear title?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to find out. I mean, we run a situation just this week where we put this house under contract for whatever, $250, and their mortgage is $240, but somehow they have liens from TVA for like $343,000. So it's like, a deal that we were going to take down and flip and thought we were going to make $50K on is not dead yet, but highly likely dead.
Question was, who's paying for title search?
So for our assignment contracts, our end buyer pays for title costs, so they're going to pay it. If we're buying the house, then we're paying for the title search. And depending on your relationship with a title company, most of the title companies we use, if we have a deal, we put under contract, they do prelim title work, and the deal doesn't work out for whatever reason, they're not going to charge us a fee for that, and that's because you are pretty high volume with them.
So covered, closing costs, title. Also, by the way, distressed assets have title issues, right? Probate, stuff like that. There's tax issues, liens they don't know about, right? There's a reason why they're distressed assets. Yep. Fantastic. Corey, you want to have a little conversation about what's somewhat scaling, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Primary. Pat, if I start with you, man, I'd like to, going back to like the beginning of the business, if somebody's
say going, they're having success. I mean, they've been doing it as like a solo operator for a year. They've closed a couple of deals. They're figuring it out. Who was your first hire? Like, who was the first leverage point that you had in your business?
For me, it was an inside sales rep. So someone that answered the phone when the leads came in. I think if you're new and you're starting, it's like, what are you good at? Like, you may be the salesperson. Like, you may be the one that needs to be in front of sellers. And if that's the case, go hire for all the other stuff. But there's also the inverse of that. Maybe like you want to be a real estate investor, you want to run a real estate investing business, but you're not the guy that's going to be the closer. So go hire for that job. Like, you want to get yourself and what's the word for that? The thing you're really good at.
Oh, when you're in zone of genius, people call it sometimes?
Yeah. You want to be working at what you're best at and hire out the other stuff that you're not good at or you don't like or that's really cheap to hire out.
I think that's a perfect setup for if you're on the entrepreneurial journey. Corey and I have been reading the E-Myth recently. Just because you're the greatest plumber in the world doesn't mean you should go start a plumbing business. What does that have to do with being a great business owner? Right? And I think it's a great framework, but just where am I on this journey? How do I get myself into my most dollar productive activity? How do I manage my energy? More important than time. Like, how do I manage my energy? How do I do things that give me energy? How do I, right? If you're not more...
We've learned that lesson a lot. So we would take our best, salesperson, and you promote them to manager. And then you learn, oh, these are not the same skill sets. So did that a few times.
And that's tough in sales because it's just oh, well, he should be good at running this because he's good at selling. And those are not the same. Those are not the same. We've had that.
It's almost a given. Like, if you're going to come in, you're going to be good at sales. I don't really need to know that much else. That's probably where you need to be. You're not going to be a good manager of other people. It's just different.
Yeah, and you could be a great salesperson and even a great sales trainer. Man, you do not love having accountability conversations with people. Hey, why? How'd that go this week? How many doors did we knock? Oh, we didn't knock any doors. Oh, if you're a high performer, that might not be a great job for you, right? There's some challenges there. So this level. This is what we're talking about. This is our framework here, right? We talked about this a little earlier. Level 1 is always energy, identity, mindset. We just kind of talked about where do I find, where am I attracted to. You had kind of a leg up here because you have a finance background, you got a finance degree, which I'm sure that's helped over the years in terms of understanding the way the business works in general, ROI. You had a foundational business. Your wife had a marketing business. So you've been on this entrepreneurial journey. I love it. It makes lots of logical sense. Pat did that one deal. You got a $20,000 check, unlock, did some more. The family was interested and involved in it, right? But level 1's always energy, identity, mindset. Level 2 is predictable income. That's the how to do what we were just talking about. How do I go find a buyer? How do I go find a seller? Like the nuts and bolts. How do I price the ARV? Level 3 is key performance indicators. Like, do I know my conversion rate? So we talked about this. Pat kind of touched on this a little bit. He said, hey, are you asking me about my return on investment? Are you asking about my ROAS, my return on ad spend? Those are 2 different KPIs, right? I could have a very good return on ad spend, but the dollar amount doesn't make as much sense. But because I'm also there's other things factored into there, like conversion, right? So PPL, pay per lead, I get more leads, maybe a lower lead cost, but my conversion isn't as good. Or like you mentioned, hey, I'm building a personal brand. I'm sure are you noticing a difference that brand's helping you with your conversion in the room because there's more trust and credibility?
I'm sure it does, yeah.
But so I think it would. That's one of the advantages of economy of scale is hey, I've got a brand. So by the time I get in the room, this guy must be legit. He's on the radio. Handsome devil, right? 7 kids. So that's going to help. But those are factors that play in where, hey, I'm investing over here and I'm getting advantage backwards. So, and this next level is investments. So I started buying some other stuff there, right? So I love this. So the first person you hired was an inside sales associate. Corey, what's the next level on the journey?
Yeah, well, to the point you hire an ISA, so you start to scale. You got somebody that's at least answering the phone. I would imagine helping book appointments or getting it teed up to go out. Because your zone of genius at the time, I would imagine, was just being present, going out, analyzing deals, it's just kind of walking properties, figuring out and having those face-to-face
Yeah, I love doing
conversations
deals.
with people.
But it's still not my, I mean, I would say almost every one of the sales reps that we have now is better than me. Like, it's like, you know, it's just not my, it's not 100% like my number one skill set.
What is?
That's a good question.
Is it leadership?
I think that's probably a big one. I mean, you know, I look at the team that we have and I'm like, yeah, there must be something there. I must be good at casting the vision because we've got just a really kick-ass team. And the quality of the leaders that are in our organization right now is just top-notch.
When you say casting a vision, tell us more, like, what does that even mean?
So just clarity.
I know it.
Yeah.
That's language.
Yeah, just giving clarity to the company. We're all pushing for the same thing. We all know what we want this company to look like 3 years from today. I don't know. I can't remember the author. Was it Cameron Herold that wrote Vivid Vision?
I don't know.
You don't know? So read that book, and that, you know, he just goes through this process of creating a vivid vision for your company. So it's 3-year timeline, getting really specific on like, what do you want culture in your company to look like 3 years from today? What do you want sales and marketing to look like? What do you want operations to look like? And so I spent the time to build out that vivid vision, and we read it every single quarter. The whole company, we're on our Zoom meeting, read through that. Everybody knows what we're trying to make true January 31st, 2027.
So I think Corey was such an inside sales
December
associate.
31st.
You're out there, you know, you're in the field because that's the part you can't scale out of. What was the next hire you got after the ISA? So inside sales associates booking.
Next rep was purchasing manager.
Okay.
And this fella doesn't work for anymore, but we're still best friends. And when I hired him, he still tells me this story. He's like, yeah, you handed me this folder with some contracts in it, and you said, good luck.
What is a purchasing manager?
Acquisitions.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why we decided to change the name, but because now you got PM and PM, purchasing manager, project manager. It's not confusing at all, ever.
Yeah. Okay, so that was your acquisitions. They were running, like, working with the sellers to find.
Yeah, he took over running appointments.
Yep. And was the next hire disposition?
No,
Disposition is like
that
you
was
get the deals
that was
for the buyers.
There were 5, 6, 7 years where we didn't wholesale anything. That probably started in like 17, 18.
Because you were scaling just for your flip business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. What, if you were doing this now, because what I don't want to do is Corey and I were talking about this, there's some podcasts you go to, and it's like, here's how to do this if you had a time machine.
Yeah.
It's all pre-COVID,
Yeah.
2%.
Yeah, travel back in time to 2018.
No. And those were relevant plays, and there's winners and losers. So people that won and that have a ton of knowledge. But like now, if you were scaling it up, would you start on the flipping side or the wholesaling side? If you were
I think you have to start with the end in mind. Like, what do you want? You know, not everybody necessarily want my desires or want what I have now. Maybe they're just trying to, you know, maybe they make $100K and they're trying to replace that $100K of passive income, and that's the one goal. And so the method to get there may look slightly different from, I want a $100 million company.
What was your vision? Like, what point did you decide, you know, if you can go back in time where it went from, hey, I would love to step in and do this, I'm going to add, because your wife was the primary breadwinner. You had a very different model than most people, right? A very successful network marketer, entrepreneur. You were the stay-at-home dad entrepreneur, right? What did that look like? When did you decide to go for it? And when did you kind of have a vision for what you wanted to build?
I mean, I'd say that vision has morphed over time. I mean, it's not like I just woke up and saw where we're at today and like, yeah, that's what I want. It's kind of has morphed over time. Sorry, can you clarify what the question
I
is?
guess the first question would be like, did you just start off with, hey, I'm going to take over? I know some of your story, which is at some point with kids and stuff.
I mean, the beginning of my story was I love doing real estate deals. Like, there was nothing that got me more excited from knowing I could wake up, go to an auction, and make $50,000 today if I bought the right house. Like,
love it.
That just, it was fun. It inspired me. It kept me motivated. And yeah, so that was it for a while. I mean, where we're at today, it's like, I am by no means like financially set. Like, I couldn't retire today, but I'm in a very good spot. But what really motivates me today is like seeing the impact on my team members, and that we have new team members that are here and they want to be there, and just, you know, watching them, you know, achieve their goals and crush these like limiting beliefs and ceilings they had for themselves is kind of what inspires me today.
What's the vision for ProSource? What's your vivid vision? Where are you guys headed?
So, well, our BHAG, Big Hairy Audacious goal, is to positively impact 100,000 lives.
Well, 4 disciplines execution in there. Big
Hairy Audacious goal.
I heard it's wildly. Yeah. So you got a big goal. Gotcha. Okay. Do that again. Sorry, we didn't get distracted with the.
Is to positively impact 100,000 lives. So for us, a positive impacted life, every deal is basically 2. You got a buyer and you got a seller.
Okay.
What number are we at today? That's a good question. It's like 3,000 or 4,000. Anybody know? Jamie, you remember what we're at? Okay. 4,215.
I love it. Yeah, so 4,215. And then what's the vision? So impact 100,000 lives. Anything beyond that for the employees, or if you're casting a vision, if I was going to come work for you, what's the? Hey, we want to touch 50,000 lives. Is there stuff you share about where you want to go with the company? I don't want to give any trade secrets, but I'm just curious about. We're talking about building something very big.
Yeah.
I think very few of us, anybody else, have an opportunity to sit down and talk to a guy like Pat every day about what scale of company we're building. I think it'd be helpful.
Yeah, I at the core of it, I think it's that we want to inspire excellence. And I think that's what helps us also win in business, is that constantly challenging each other to improve, not being okay with mediocre. And I think that's what makes us what we are, and it's going to continue to help us win over time, is not ever settling for where you're at, always striving to be excellent and get better every day.
But no, I appreciate that, because I know I put you on the spot. We can talk about this ahead of time. But I noticed like none of those are, and I guarantee Pat has KPIs and dashboards, right, and metrics that we're measuring. Those are not financial goals. Those are impact goals. This is why we talk about this all the time, right? Because like logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. And Pat nailed it. Like the reason you're in this room is different for every person. So when I'm talking to other people in there, I should have some clarity about like, what are you trying to build and why am I trying to build it? Because it turns out like, I don't want to build the business Corey has, and Corey doesn't want to build the same one. We want to build the same real estate team. Personality-wise, we have some differences, right? And so we play those our strengths, like what we're doing, what we're good at. Tons of overlap in terms of values, right? So yeah, why am I doing this and what I want to do? Like the business you built, that's not so I could retire. It's I enjoy showing up every day, I'd imagine, right?
For sure, I do.
Yeah, and pouring into people. That's pretty fascinating. Corey, what questions do you have, and then we'll open it up.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on a point in time I know in your journey, which is this is like 21, 22, when as I can remember, it was a point where you guys really started almost going back into like fixing and flipping a lot. Like market had a great tailwind. Market is appreciating just rapidly. We were just setting new comps like every 90 days effectively. I mean, for those that don't know, like Knoxville is the most appreciated market in the entire United States. It's number one. If you go back to
in the last 6 years.
Right. If you go back to like pre-COVID, like this is number one. So we had like a great tailwind that I'm sure I would imagine gave like a lot of just confidence like in growth. Like the business grew like a lot. Can you take us through that time period and as things shifted, how you pivoted? Because again, it sounds like we got away from maybe what got you to the dance in terms of, hey, building an acquisition or wholesaling company, the transition to fixing and flipping a little bit more, just direct or wholesaling everything. And then as the market shifted, everything had to adjust.
So where do I start on this one? Yeah, at the end of the day, I made some bad decisions for the company, and that led us to a bad spot. So to kind of sum up what that looked like, 2020, 2021, we're wholesaling. We did a mix of both, but we would wholesale deals to Joe, and Joe would take that house and he'd put it on MLS and make $40K. And that kind of started pissing me off. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we wholesaling these deals? Like, why don't we just buy them all? So that was like a 90-degree pivot. So it was like beginning of 2022, we didn't assign a single house, we bought every one. So we were closing on 40 houses every month. And for the first half of 2022, we were extremely profitable because it was doing the same thing. We were buying a crappy house in Harriman, throwing it on the market and selling it to a cash buyer as is, 2-week close, all that good stuff. Then you come to July and the interest rates go from 3 to 8, and I've got 65 houses sitting on the MLS that won't sell. And so, the next 6 months we just spent getting our teeth kicked in. And it was not like, hey, how much profit are we making? It's like, hey, do we have enough money in the bank? Like, are we gonna make it? And it's looking back, it's embarrassing / really sucked. Like, the number one thing we were focused on is how much money are we spending in reno, and can we draw more on our renovation loans than we spend so we don't run out of cash? So that culminated in around like December 15th of 2022. I drastically reduced the size of our company, took it from 33 people to like 8. And that was basically like me plus a couple other guys who were going to renovate our inventory and work through the houses we owned, get them complete and get them sold, and then a very skeleton crew on the sales side. So really happy that I kept Jamie. Jamie's been my marketing guy since the beginning, and come the 2023, beginning of 2023, it's like we went to $0. We were spending no money on marketing, and Jamie stepped up and became our dispo guy at that time. And so all that to say, like, I didn't take into account like what it looks like to get $15 million of hard money loans at one time. But at the end of the day, what I realized is that we weren't very good at what we were doing at the time. Our operations weren't very good. We didn't have good processes in place for evaluating properties, make sure we're paying the right prices. And so those decisions, those things were true before the rates went up, and the rates going up exposed, the tide went out and we didn't have our swimming trunks on. So we made it through, and I'm highly confident and convinced that we are 5 times the company today than we were then.
Thank you so much for that honesty.
Yeah.
Like that's not easy to admit, and I know from the stage, I think sometimes try to be very blunt and very and talk about the risks here, because Corey's lived through this now, but I've lived through this other market cycles where it's like, man, it's 2006. Why am I not buying new houses? This guy, my buddy, tried to buy a new house, and now he's got 2, and he's selling them, and why I'm losing money? Why am I not keeping all of this stuff here? And when I don't have the fundamentals, who prepares you for that? Who's having those conversations with you about how leveraged are you and how do you hedge against?
Yeah, and so another piece of that pie was 2021. Things were going really well. We were growing, and I'm like, I'm gonna retire. So, promoted someone to be CEO of the company. We had a COO, and then I stepped out. And I am not blaming what happened on those people. Shoot, I forgot where I was going with this. But that's what happened. I didn't build something that was sustainable and what it was. And the moment of reality came to me one day when I get a call. We flipped this house. It's on Linden Hall in Farragut, and we were flipping houses on spreadsheets like that. That's hard. We have QuickBooks, but our bookkeeper sucked. She refused to get on. She told me QuickBooks Online doesn't work. It sucks. So we didn't have it. We literally had QuickBooks, and I have a Mac, so I really couldn't get access to my books very well. So that sucked. We were really bad then. And so what happened on this house was we have project manager. They record expenses on their spreadsheet as they go. So we did this flip. We get it under contract. I'm like, frick yeah, we're gonna make $80K. Well, it turns out there was $100,000 in reno spend that wasn't accounted for. So I got that phone call, and I literally cried. I was like, because this is in the midst of getting our teeth kicked in many other ways.
You got the bright spot and then the disappointment.
Yes. So through that type of stuff, our system now for how we flip houses is a perfect no, But is it pretty good? Yeah, like we have accountability, we use Builder Trend, we know what our estimate is. A bill will not get paid unless it's below the estimate or there's a change order entered, and there has to be photos of the work completed. Like just the systems to prevent mistakes like that are in place now.
Builder Trend is great software for if you're a home builder, use it as a renovator. So hey, I'm running a construction company, right? If you're renovating, so I've got an actual systems and processes to run a construction company.
Yeah.
Full accounting, yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, we got rid of that bookkeeper. QuickBooks Online is actually great. So anytime I want, I can go on and see, hey, what is our all in into this house? What is our basis?
Especially as a builder, where you can line item cost that.
Yeah.
The chart of accounts is huge.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, right? Because I know that like, as a business owner too, sometimes we have to have like really just fierce conversations. We have to just look at things and like, how are we going to just keep this thing going? So I appreciate you sharing, because I think it always helps people to be able to identify and kind of empathize and go along that same journey as well. I think it helps. Like, sure, we can all high five on like wins, but also those moments where we do get kicked in the teeth, I think is where we learn the most about like ourselves, right? And like our values and how we carry ourselves through this, and other people can learn along that way. So as you started to build back and as you started to grow, I know you guys have expanded into some other markets, like you're down in Chattanooga and operating through like a good amount of just this region. What were those first steps like in terms of expansion and growth? Like how did those same systems or SOPs like transition over? Because I would imagine in some other markets, you probably have to identify new talent in those new areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey from that beginning of 23 until now of fixing the things that were broken, learning how processes work, learning how to hold people accountable. The number one difference maker between then and now is the quality of people, and number one on that list is my operator, Coburn. He's really good at that stuff. Like it's what he's passionate about. Like he's actually been on 15, 20 appointments and he can't close a house, which is just okay because he's really good at a lot of stuff that really matters. And so he's really systemized and operationalized our business and continues to do that through even today. So that's the biggest difference is it's really people who then build those things out. Systems for accountability, systems for how we operate, and how we operationalize and to really turn this into a business.
And like in building those out allows for scale and growth or transitioning into like a new market that much easier. And also I think what I hear in that too is just taking the time to hire A players, because like A talent will show up, and the difference between B or C level talent versus like when an A player shows up, like it will stand out and that person will 10x like the production.
Yeah, and like some really obvious stuff. So we spend a lot of money on marketing, and what we used to do back in the day is you hire a new sales rep, and you do a little onboarding with them, and then the next thing they're in what we call round robin with all the other reps. So they're getting equal appointments to all the other reps. And then what we found was, guess what? Like half of these guys aren't going to work out. We're spending $15,000 to $20,000 a month getting appointments for that one guy, and he sucks. He failed. Like all that money was wasted. So now what we do instead is we hire a new rep. It's like, guess what, guys? We have this beautiful CRM right here. You go make us we're going to talk you through the talk track. We're going to show you, you're going to get the same onboarding, but you go through our CRM and you go make $150,000 of revenue. Then you proved you're a closer. Then you can get the primo leads and the primo appointments. So that's like a really practical way of how we sucked before and how we feel like is a much better way to do it today.
I love that. So like it sounds like they're going into some kind of pond that you have. These are old leads or people that have reached out.
They're just, they're leads. There may be leads we had appointments on. Go self-set appointment. I mean, so it's not cold calling.
Sure.
It's much better than that.
You've already interacted with them in the
sure.
past in some capacity, so it's a warm-ish lead for them to go sort of
it really just proves that they have the hustle factor.
Yeah. I love that. That's cool.
And the ability to close.
You have questions? No, that's pretty.
Anybody have any questions for Pat before we take him off stage? Devin.
Yeah. Really, really cool what you've done, man. I've heard your stuff all over the place, and it's very, very inspiring. So if you were to lose your team, lose your company and everything, and we're to start over today, what would you do, I guess, to get back to where you are?
For everyone at home, Devin's question is, if you were to lose everything and start over today, what would you do to get back to where you are? That's a tough question.
It is a tough question because if I'm going to answer it from from me, like I'm going to go find another operator who's going to help me build it. Because I'm not that old, I'm 40, but the thought of having to do it all over again is a little daunting. And I know that getting that right key player to be my right-hand man, because it's just not my strength. Like I don't want to spend time building out our train you on, like training people how to onboard stuff. It's just not my jam. So for me, I would go find that person and find a way to make enough money to be able to pay them to help me get rebooted.
Okay, very cool. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. That makes sense. Who else has a question? Dan.
I'm an old radio guy, so I love to hear you talking about that radio is producing great results. But like to Corey's point, everything kind of complements each other. So if you're talking traditional media, how are you actually tracking that, saying you're getting a 4-to-1 return? Because you can see a web spike, when the radio ad plays.
So Dan's question is about marketing channels, right? So how am I tracking? I'm doing a good job of my appointments to say, hey, how did you find us, and qualifying that. But how am I tracking my return on ad spend when I've got ad spend in multiple channels and they may be being exposed to me in more than one location?
Yeah. So obviously we have a different phone number on the radio than on TV. So that's one way. But you're right. They may hear a radio ad, they may see our TV ad and then call a radio number. And so there are some of those things, like if they go to our website, it's kind of automatically going to be categorized for us as SEO. But what do we know? That's highly likely not true. They probably found us on the radio and then Googled us. So the way we solve that problem is we ask. Our inside sales team is asking, hey, where'd you hear about us? And really trying to close that loop. And even though maybe the number they called was radio, maybe we pin it back to, or maybe if it says billboard, we pin it back to what it actually was, which was TV.
And I think the underlying point there would be about advertising in more than one channel. When we talk about zone, we talk about owning the mind share of your audience. People feel like that Pat owns the mind share in Knoxville, right? Yeah, and that's because we're meeting people across multiple channels. Now, I saw one more hand. Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, my question is how do you stay on top of market trends? So if you bought a house and the market was a certain way, and then by the time you're done renovating, the market has shifted. How do you stay on top of those trends? How
do we stay on top of market trends? So how do we predict where the market is going when we're going to exit the deal? What the ARV is going to be?
Or where it is by the time you're ready to exit.
Okay.
Flip it fast. I mean, yeah, I honestly don't spend a ton of time. I think about it on a big picture level, but when it comes to an individual house, building the margin that you want, but I'm not going to be like, hey, I think the market over the next 3 months is going to go down 2%. Like, you're not really going to feel that. I mean, if we have a calamity, like there's a hurricane that hits Knoxville and everything drops 30%, like you're not going to predict that anyway. But in my history of doing this here, other than like when interest rates did what they did in 2022, the swings weren't that fast. Now, if you're flipping a house that takes you a year, that's a different story. I mean, we're trying to get in and out of houses in like 30 to 90 days.
I don't want to wrap up, Pat, but I do want to say something you touched on a little earlier. You said that you're trying to get 5 offers on a house, and then the 5 offers are your built-in verification system that you may have priced the house correctly. And so what I'm hearing is like, I've got systems in place that are self-reinforcing, right? It sounds like you guys are really good at marketing. So hey, we're going to use that on both sides. Right, I've got a good buyer list and I've got a good seller list, and I'm using that one skill in more than one location in my business. And that is, to your point, Jay, that's shoring up. Great, I don't need to be an expert on market because I know how to acquire assets and our disposition assets. So I know how to create a marketplace. And it's a lead. That sounds like to me the biggest thing would just be like, I've got that part is the
like
part
on
to
a
solve, right?
on a bigger picture level, like if you feel like you're in a downward trending market, maybe your number goes from if you're comfortable buying at 75% minus repairs, maybe you're going to go to 70. And if you're in an appreciating market, well, then you get to make the choice. Do I want to keep my numbers the same, or am I okay adjusting up? It comes down to probably your own personal threshold of preference Yeah.
Last question, because we've gone over, but I appreciate Pat showing you there. How do you feel about the market here in 2026? You bullish? You scared? How do you feel locally?
I say I'm bullish. Our flip inventory is moving. Buyers are pickier. Gone are the days of as-is sales, no inspections. Like, it won't be that uncommon to have a house go under contract and have to kill it because, like we had a house, South Knox, they put under contract. They did their inspection. Is this house perfect? No. Did we flip it completely? No. But they asked for $40K off. So it's like, at our volume, I'm just okay saying no or go back to the market, even though that's kind of a little bit of a blemish on the house. I mean, we've had it happen before where a house has gone in and out of contract 3 times, and my 4th contract netted me the most money out of all of them. So for me, it's a little bit of playing some cat and mouse with buyers. Like, I know I'm going to have to give some, I'm going to have to repair stuff, I'm going to have to give them credits, but if they ask for something crazy, I'm not afraid to kill a deal and move on.
Sure.
Sorry, but back to the question, I'm pretty bullish, but I do think it's a little bit of a buyers have a little more control. So our goal is always put out the best quality house out of the comps at a slightly lower price. And we have a couple assets that are sitting, but for the most part, it's like we list a house and we're under contract within 10 days.
I love it. Thank you. Big hand for Pat for coming out. Two quick things really fast here. If you are trying to understand the how to wholesale side of the game, right? And thank you, Pat, for giving us a high-level overview. The nuts and bolts of how do I get started, how do I do this thing, a couple of different resources for you. Mike Capello runs Sell Simply. He's come here before. I don't know if anyone saw him talk about creative financing. He came in and went through exactly how we do subject to deals, and some of the other strategies, novations, etc. He's got a call. You can sign up there. Wholesaler Training Ground. It's on grid. Mike will unlock the book for you. He does it every single month.
Monday at 4.
Mondays at 4. Mondays at 4. You can jump on there. Mike is an incredible resource and can also share with you how we're building and scaling that business. And then Corey, tell us about Coffee, Donuts, and Deals.
Yes. So coming up here on the February 20th is going to be our next main meetup. We're going to be there at U-Brew Coffee Lounge in Bearden. They're off of Carr Street. We're going to be having Elena Beatty, who's been part of our grid community now for a number of years. Elena is somebody who's an engineer making 6 figures a year, decided to move away from that business, went and started out her own wholesaling operation. She's been doing that now for about part of a year, has had a pretty good track record of success, has just finished her first flip, big snaps to her on that. But that's going to be our opportunity to go ahead and interview her. What's her journey been like up to this point? So we've got a high-level operator, somebody who's been doing this now for 10 plus years. Pat's been with us here on stage. Super appreciate you for that. And we get to go back and let's go talk to somebody who's a year into that journey and see
Elena's
what that track been like.
is a mom, right? Elena, like if Elena's got a great personality, but she's not doing anything, kind of like Duke knocking doors for 4 hours, we're going to bring you somebody who, here's how they started. Here's their $1,500 a month ad spend. Here's what they did to go get this, and how did they get their first one. And we want to cover both of those for you because the hardest thing to do is the first one, right? Pat, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right.